Hi there and welcome back to Japan, where we're going to be doing a reaction review to COJIRASE The Trip with Black Swan. As usual, I've just done the reaction, so if you want to watch that, we have to do it this way. Now click the little link in the description and it will show you the reaction in a separate player. Otherwise, I'm about to give you the review now, so if you want to watch the reaction, go check that out now. Little link in the description below, opens a separate player. Have you done that? Have you done that? Have you paused me? Have you watched that? Alright, well here we go with the review. So this one was, well, I was going to say not what I expected at all, but then again I had no expectations because this is a group I'd never heard of, didn't know anything about going into it. Definitely one of those ones. We have like a really great wide following of people on this channel. Even since we restarted, you know, a lot of people have come back and yeah, we've got a real wide range of following. This is certainly one that is not going to appeal to the rockier fans. It's not that type of song at all. This is really... it's very much done in a certain style of like, you know, pop, EDM, hip hop crossover that is, you know, become quite popular. I think this sort of style of music is now perhaps less common in the West. It's starting to become less of this, but there's a lot more of this in K-pop and things. That's where you tend to hear this sound more. And that's kind of what I was thinking. This really, at the current moment, in the current contemporary climate, reminds me of what K-pop is doing more than anything. And is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Well, that's completely down to taste, to be honest. I think that what this has some things that, like I say, really work and some things that maybe go against it. Now, the first thing I'd point out is that I felt that when this started, came in straight away, it felt like it was going in a sort of good direction because you had a sort of nice sparse sound to it, lots of room for it to build up. You had those really sort of impactful staccato, you know, sort of bangs at the beginning of each bar. The beat was heavy, but then the sort of main, if you like, the main synthesizer, well, not synthesizer, but that main sort of synthetic effect sound instrument that was put in the background, you know, so done for a lot of filters. It was nice and light. It was playing something which gave it a little bit of interest, but it was nice and light enough that there was a lot of room in both the EQ and in, you know, the spaces in the notes for the rappers to deliver lyrics. And that's what I think the point was of this was to give room for the hip hop. Now, as always, I can read the lyrics if I have them on sheet and I can work it out from that. I'm not quite quick enough to pick them up on the fly. So I can't tell 100% what the meaning was or how good the lyrical content was, which is always important for rap anyway. I would say with the delivery, it was an interesting one because the delivery was in some places good. There were some bits which I felt like there was one or two lines where I felt like maybe there was trouble making the syllables match. Now I know this is always a difficult, you know, match the rhythm. Now this is always a difficult one because, you know, you could argue it either way. You could say either that sounds like the syllables don't fit, or maybe it's just that's the way they wanted it to flow. Maybe they're doing a bit more of an interesting flow. But ultimately, what it comes across as is, you know, because as I say, with all music on this channel, and this applies to your opinion as much as mine. I've worked with music my entire life, but my opinion is no more important than yours. It's really, does it work when you hear it? And, you know, there were some lines that were working really good, and then there'd just be a line where it come in and it would be like, okay, that doesn't fit. Now, I'm not talking about the bits where, and this was mainly, I've got to say, with a male rapper. I'm not talking about the bits where he did the tripleted rhythm, because that was interesting. He was clearly going for a tripleted rhythm over a 4/4 beat, and there was occasionally little tripleted bits that came into the rhythm of the production as well. So clearly everyone was on board with this idea of having a sort of juxtaposition between a tripleted and a 4/4 rhythm. And that was kind of cool. That was interesting. You can do that. Sometimes it sounds a bit muddled, but you can do that to give things a little bit of a sort of trippy feel, and that worked. But like I say, it wasn't that. He did have some really good flowing bits, like I say. He did have some nice ideas like that, but there were just a couple of lines, like I say, where it sounded like, I think you wanted to say something and you couldn't fit it in there. So, yeah, I was a little bit sort of unsure. I wasn't 100% keen on the rap parts, but I thought they were good for the best part, especially considering that it was fairly slow moving, most of the rap. I didn't feel there was a huge amount of excuse to have lines that sounded awkward and slightly like they could have done with a rewrite. Then again, like I said, that's just the way it sounded to me. Just to be clear, we do a lot of styles of music on this channel. If you're someone who's come across who you're mainly about hip hop and you're thinking that maybe I don't know anything about this is a genre I've actually worked with as well. So, you know, it's something I'm familiar with it. I've heard a lot of it before. So when I say it's that some of the lines sounded unnatural, I am saying that from a degree of experience. However, I would say that a lot of it did sound really good. It's just, like I say, some lines just stuck out and you went, oh, What's going on there? Anyway, I won't dwell too much on that point because, like I say, actually, overall, the vocals weren't bad. They were pretty good. So, as always, it's easier to talk about the things that maybe don't sound right than it is to talk about the things that do sound right. The production, like I say, was nice. It did build up. I like the way that when it went into the hook, I mean, the hook was something we talked about. This has been very popular in the West for a while now and is now becoming a huge thing in K-pop of recent years, is the idea of a hook that is not really a hook. It's just you sing one line and then fall onto the beat. And then just like a synthetic loop plays a instrumental hook. I'll be honest, I've never been a big fan of that when that happens. Perfume do that more recently now. And as I've said on a lot of them, there's been a couple of those that have worked, but as a general, when they do that, I don't really like that. It's kind of like, I mean, for example, you take this one, this had a lot of impact. It worked, I mean, I was bouncing my head. I enjoyed it. But it would seriously affect its replay value because it's kind of the lowest common denominator approach to doing a chorus. It's not a chorus, a hook. So don't get me wrong, it works. You put that into a club setting, you put that into a setting where it's in the background and people just want to bob their heads. It's perfect. It really does work. However, like I say, it's not going to get you coming back to it and saying, I really want to check out this song unless you're already a fan of the group. Like I say, those are the kind of the problem elements. However, there are a lot of positives to put into this as well. First of all, like I say, one of the big things, this song was over 3 minutes long. I know that's not long, and you guys know that I've got a bit of a love for. Sorry, just cleaning my glasses. I've got a bit of a love for shorter songs anyway. I like songs that are very short and to the point. This one, despite being just over 3 minutes long, it felt more like it was about 2 minutes long, which just means it is working. And I think that's the real power of this. It moves along well. It's got a lot of impact. It doesn't get overly cluttered. It has its nice little rhythmic tricks that keep it interesting. It has some good ideas that mean that it never gets sort of boring. It doesn't outstay its welcome time-wise, and it has, like I say, enough impact and enough effect that it feels actually like it's shorter than it is. So really, this is actually quite good at what it does. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think the problem comes in that I didn't feel like this had anything that made it feel special. It felt like, okay, if you want to listen to this type of thing, this is actually really good. It's punchy, it's quick, it's got impact. The hook will certainly make you bob your head along. That's all great. However, it is, as sometimes we say with songs on this channel, it's one of those ones where it feels like it's lost in a sea of other songs that have a similar goal and achieve the same thing to the same quality. You could probably pull out a lot of other songs that are of similar quality and a similar style, very similar style maybe even. What I wanted to hear something that really set it unique. With the two rappers, you got a male and a female rapper. I only noticed two. Apologies if I missed more. They rapped competently. They could have done something more interesting though to make it more unique. Their style of rap was competent. It was sounded good for the best part, but it didn't sound unique. You've got four members, so I'm guessing that at least two of them are singers. So why did the hook not have more in it? Why was there not more interesting vocal tricks? Even if you just have a little bit of R&B style singing or something over there. I mean, I know that's a bit of an outdated reference, but just something in there just to give it a little bit, why was that not done? The production's fine, nothing wrong with that, but, they could have added some sounds that maybe were a little bit more unique. The producer could have done something like that. So basically, like I said, this is competent. It's good. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, there's also nothing special about it. So I would be more than willing to listen to more of these guys in hope that there was something by them that more set out their identity, more made you go, okay, I see why you are you. What makes you different from everyone else. That's kind of what I want to see. And considering you've got a group like this who seem to have an interesting setup, they've got a male and female rapper at least. They might all be rappers, I don't know. Considering that, there's a lot of room for them to do a lot of interesting things. So maybe this is just a big single and that's why it sounds a little bit more generic than maybe the rest of their material. Guys, as always, get in the comments if you know more about the band. Let me know. As always with everyone, give me your opinions. I'm always interested to see what everyone thinks of these songs after I've done my waffling. But let me know what you think. Let me know anything more you know about the artist. Give me more suggestions for this band if you can think of something that's going to, sort of set maybe them apart from the rest. And either way, like I say, music's all about your own opinion. That's what's important. I'm just here to start off the conversations, and you guys are here to tell me what you think as well. You might all disagree with me. Who knows? Anyway, looking forward to that. And obviously, if you want to get more involved in the conversation, remember we've also got our Discord and Reddit linked in the description below, as long as my Facebook and Twitter, as well as my Facebook and Twitter, and the Patreon for the wonderful people who keep this channel going. I'm working on a way to make sure that their names appear at the end of the videos. That will happen sometime soon, I promise. Anyway, for now from Japan, thank you so much for tuning in. Great to see you all the way to the end of the video. And until I see you hopefully soon on the next one, for now, ciao, ciao.